Hi, I'm Jeff Ludy, the owner of Houston Window Experts in Houston, Texas. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hey, I'm standing here in our beautiful 26,000 square foot distribution center where we have literally thousands of windows going out, being installed into people's beautiful homes. And I thought this would be a great setting to talk to you about 7 ways, yes, 7 ways you can save money on your window and or door project. Before I jump into that though, I want to tell you that if you live in the Houston area, we'd love to meet you. We treat people the way we want to be treated, with honesty, with dignity, with respect. We have a showroom where we have all of our samples, over 12 brands of windows and doors to choose from. We're like the CarMax of windows and doors. And so we give you lots of options, lots of different price points, lots of different design options and colors, things that I think are going to help you find just the right project for your home. Now, if you don't live in the Houston area, but you're looking for a great window company near you, check out jeffslist.com. It's a website I started where I have a list of great window companies all over the country. And maybe I know somebody near you that can help you with your window or door project. Okay, so 7 ways to save money on your window project. So here's what happens, right? People finally find a window they love. They find a great window company that they trust. They've avoided the 5 common mistakes that people make when buying windows. There's a little link right there down in the description. Watch that one. It's my most watched YouTube video. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And they finally settled on a window. They settled on a window company, and now it's time to get pricing. They get the price, they look at the price, and oh my gosh, I thought it was going to cost this much, and now it's going to cost that much. What could you do if you want to lower the price on your windows? And I've got 7 great ideas for you, and that's what we want to discuss. I want to tell you though, you should not compromise on the quality of a window or the quality of an installation or the quality of the service that you get in order to get a price point that you're looking for. Do things instead that don't compromise integrity or quality in order to save money, and that's what these 7 points are about. The first one is window types. Selecting the right window type for your home. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I had Jason, our warehouse manager, pull up right here. You'll see these in a row. We have a big list here of things I'm going to show you on windows. This example here is what we call a double single hung window. This is an operable window. You might find this in a living room. You might find it in a dining room or even a bedroom. Sometimes we'll have an operable window like this where there's 2 windows side by side. And I don't have this. This is all covered right now for protection. This is a Pella window. This window, if it opens, when I open it, it'll slide up and down, right? So this is a window you could let air in. You could climb out of if there was a fire, an event, or something like that. This is a operable window. Well, think about this. This is 2 windows, right? Kind of in one. It's kind of like 2 medium pizzas, right, in a box. Instead of like 1 large pizza, you could go from 2 windows to 1 big window and save some money. Let me give you an example of that. Look at this one right here. This is not the exact same size, but I'm trying to show you the difference here. See how there's no divider going up and down the middle on this one like you have on that one? And there's no divider going across the horizontal here because this window doesn't operate? Well, if that window went into a bedroom and it was the only way to egress from a bedroom, then yes, you must keep it as a window that operates because that's going to be required by code. You need that to be able to egress if there's a fire. But if it's not in a bedroom or a place that needs to operate, like if it's at the back of the house, or if it's on the front of the house or the side of the house or some place where it does not need to be a part of a bedroom, going with a big picture window like this will cost you less money than if you went with 2 small windows that are put together. 2 small windows cost more than 1 big window. So here's a way you could save money. Also, guess what I like about this? If this is a window looking out the back of your house into your yard, looking at your pool or looking at your scenery, the mountain, whatever you got there, I'd like this better. I'd like that I have more glass here than I have over here. Even if that costs more money, I think that would be a smarter choice for me depending on where the window's going. But to think that I might get a better looking window and I might save money at the same time, that's the kind of stuff that having an expert working with you on your project will help you understand and will help you give the ideas for this sort of thing. So bigger window instead of 2 small ones. Okay, but one caveat in this whole idea of saving money by going to a big window instead of the 2 smaller windows. Here's the thing. This window, in some cases, may have to be tempered because of its size or its proximity to the floor. If that's the case, then it would be better to go with 2 of these single windows if it's about saving money. Now you might decide to spend a little more money on this 1 window anyway because you like how it looks, but let me tell you what the rule is on that just so you know really quick. When it comes to code, if a window exceeds 9 square feet, which this one obviously does, this is probably around 30 square feet. If it exceeds 9 square feet and emphasis on the word and sits below 18 inches from the floor. So if this window's not 18 inches off the floor in your house when it's installed, if it's over 9 square feet and below 18 inches, then it must be tempered. So what you need to do first is measure and see the existing window you have now. Is it 18 inches off the floor? If it is, you're exempt from that concern. You can do whatever you want with this. There's some other cases where it has to be tempered, like if it's near a bathtub, if it's at the bottom of a stairs, if it's within 24 inches of a door. There are some other rules about that. Check with an expert before you make that decision. But in most cases, I found that you get more glass, you get a better view by switching to this window type over that window type. Now here's another consideration. Let's suppose that this window was 3 windows wide, because some of these are really, really wide. And you still need ventilation though in that room. So going to this is not really an option for you. You ought to consider this here. This is what we call a double vent slider. A double vent slider, if you notice, it could have been like that window over there, where it was 1, 2, 3 windows that open up and down. But instead, what we did is we put a fixed window in the middle, picture window, and then we put 2 operational windows, one on each side. And if you notice here, now I get that ventilation I was looking for. I also get the egress that was required so that I can get out in the event there's a fire. But what I've done here is I've saved money because I'm still down to 1 window frame. This is 1 window versus 3 windows, okay? So need ventilation? Consider this. Now a quick thing I want to mention while we're here in case you do this. This is what we call a 25%, 50%, 25%. So the middle is the size of both of these put together so that when I open the windows, you notice I get the maximum ventilation on each side. So something to consider when you're doing that. And also like that now I get kind of that big picture window look where I can see out. I don't have any bars dividing that, and that helps me get a different window type, save money, and still get the view I want and have access to ventilation if that's what I need. Okay, tip number 2 on 7 ways to save money in your window project is grids. Grids, what are grids? Grids are these things right here that are on windows. They're decorative. Now the windows you may have now, if they're old windows, they might actually be actual real grids with separate panes of glass. But now with high-tech new technology and high efficiency windows, this is actually just one big window. It's a double pane sheet of glass, 2 sheets of glass inside and outside. And these are applied to the surface using an adhesive just to give you a look of a grid. It's also known as a simulated divided light, an SDL. I've got a great video talking all about grids. I'm going to put a link to it down there right here at the top. In case you want to know more about grids, you can understand grids better. But a grid like this, if you notice, is beautiful. It's authentic. I can feel it. I can touch it. It looks really good. This is going to cost more money than if you did a grid like this. This is a grid that's a grid between the glass. I cannot touch it. It's between the glass, see? Now, if you look at this, there's some benefits to this, right? In addition to saving money, because this is going to be a lot cheaper than that, this is going to cost less and it's going to be easier to clean the window. This will not attract dust. Dust and dirt won't sit on these edges like it will over here on the SDL, the authentic grid. It's easier to keep clean and it's going to save me some money. Now, just so you are warned and you really understand it, this is going to look much more authentic than this is going to look. This is going to be behind the coatings that are on the glass. So if you notice, it's not as bright, it's not as vibrant as the rest of the window. See the window frame? See how nice and white that is? And see how that's more of an off-white? Why? Because it sits behind the glass. You're losing some of the color between the actual frame color and the actual color of the grid. So that's a little bit of a negative, but it is cost saving. So this is the most expensive type of grid, but it's very authentic and realistic. This is least expensive. And then lastly, there's no grid, right? I mean, you could do without grids completely if your HOA will allow, and if it's something that you really want and part of your design component of your new windows. I've found that most companies now or most homeowners now, more modern type style building, they're getting rid of the grids completely. But if grids are important to you, then now you know you have some choices. You can do it between the glass or you can do it on the surface. One last point about saving money on grids, if you do need grids, would be this. The fewer number of grids you have, the less expensive it is. So, for example, on this window, you can see that these grids are much closer together. So I have more of them, right? These grids are 11 inches apart, whereas on this window, these grids are 14.5 inches apart. So I'm going to have fewer grids on the same size window if I space them out more. Spacing them out more gives you a couple of things. One, savings on the number of grids that you have because they're charged by the grid. This is a very labor-intensive process. It's all applied by hand. And number two, it gives you a little bit more of a modern contemporary feel. So if right now the front of your house has a lot of grids, it feels like you're inside of a prison cell with all those grids, maybe what you ought to do instead is consider going with fewer grids, whether it be between the glass or on the surface, and that will save you money. That was number two. Number three, buying standard colors over custom or premium colors. So most of us like, the beautiful black window, right? The black window's really in right now. But here's the problem with buying a window that's black. Black is not a standard color. Black always seems to take more materials, more costs involved with a manufacturer to make it. Now I'm talking about vinyl. When we're talking about vinyl windows, it does cost more in black. Usually the common colors are the best ones to stick to if you're looking for a price thing. Now I mentioned earlier, I don't think you should ever compromise. You should get what you want. Certainly don't compromise on the quality, and don't compromise on what you're wanting to achieve aesthetically. But if it's really important to you to have black, I get it. Pay for a black window. But if it's not really important to you, stick with standard colors like white. Some companies call theirs second color taupe or almond. Some people call it clay. But usually you're going to find something that would work in that general family of colors that will work with just about any house. And to put your mind at ease, did you know that 83% of all windows in the United States right now being bought today are white windows? Is the black window trend a fad? I don't think it is. I think it's a classic. I think it'll be around for a very long time. But you have to remember that a white window will go with the color of your house forever. If you decide to change the color of the outside of your house, a white window will work with it. If the inside of one of your bedrooms is blue because it's a baby's room, the white will work. If the other bedroom is pink because it's a girl's room, the pink will work with white. Pink with black does not look very good. I've seen it. So keep in mind that you could save money by staying with a standard color. One other thing you need to consider too is when you buy a window or a door, like this one right here is, for example, this is a Windsor door. The outside of it is pre-finished at the factory, okay? But the inside of it is actually not finished at all. It's raw, unfinished wood, which means that it has to be painted now. So one of the ways you can save money when we're talking about colors is to go ahead and pick an exterior color that you want, but on the inside, have it sent unfinished, and then you can order a couple of pizzas and a couple of beers, if you like beer, wine, water, invite some friends over for a beer and pizza party, and then hand them a paintbrush. That could save you some money, because if you have the factory paint the door for you, or if you have us paint it for you, it's going to cost more money than you trying to get some friends over to help. Now we do have a paint booth, a professional paint booth. We can do that for you before we bring the windows and doors out to your house. That's really nice because you don't have that odor in the house while we're installing and painting. It's all done before we get there. Now there is some touch-up that'll still need to happen once we get them installed, but the bulk of the paint can be done here, but that does cost more money. So if you're looking to save money, again, my recommendation, stay with standard colors and then get unfinished on the interior of your product if it is a wood product, so that you can do that yourself. Okay, while we're standing right here, I want to talk to you about how to save money on a door. If you're buying a door for your house, you have to remember that doors, hinged doors like this is a hinged door. Any door that swings in or out is a hinged door, okay? A hinged door like a French door is going to cost more than a sliding door. In fact, it can usually cost about 50% more. It can even cost about twice as much as a sliding door, and there's some reasons for it. Number one is a sliding door moves inside of a track, whereas a hinged door has to be able to swing out and withstand the pressures of a wind load, withstand the fulcrum pressures of the weight of the door all being put on the hinges. So the framework on it has to be much more robust, much stronger. It has to be willing to support that extra weight of the extended arm of your door. Whereas a sliding door, all the weight always rests on the bottom, right, on the track, and it just slides back and forth. So it costs less to make a sliding door than it costs to make a hinge door. If you have a French door right now and you're considering replacing your French door, my advice to you, if you're looking to save some money, or if you're looking to improve the look and design of your home, is maybe consider instead getting a sliding door. Here's some footage I'll show you. Here's one of the things you can see about a sliding door. Look how narrow the frame is on a sliding door. You're going to have a lot more glass on a sliding door. You're going to have less visual interruption on a sliding door. It's going to give you a better look into the backyard so you can see the things you want to see, kind of like we talked about when we're talking about the big fixed picture window versus a triple window. And if you notice here, look how much frame you have on this hinge door. So on a hinge door, between the two hinges, I'm losing 11 inches of glass space, whereas if this was just a sliding door, I'd only be losing 2.5 inches of glass space. So if the view's important, if looking out's important, if having more light into your home is important, and you want to find a way to save some money, I would consider going with a sliding door. Now, one more thing about sliding doors, we'll move on to the next one. Sliding doors used to be a negative term. I remember when I was a kid growing up, if you couldn't afford a French door, you had to buy a sliding door. But I can tell you now, even though sliding doors cost less money, sliding doors are far more popular and they're being used in the nicest, most beautiful homes all across America. I think you should consider looking at a high quality premium sliding door over a hinge door. So next on our list of 7 ways to save money is to consider using standard sizes instead of custom sizes. Now, sometimes you don't have that luxury when you're talking about an existing house. If you have an existing house and the window needs to be 35 inches and the standard size is 35 and a half, where are we going to put that extra half inches of a window? We can't. But in some brands, some customers are going to pay more money for a custom size over a standard size. So if we have an option, and we'll take a look at your house, if there's an option, let's say that a standard size window is within 1/4 inch of what we really wanted. We don't like doing it, but if it is about saving money on the cost of your windows, we will look and see, because if 1/4 inch is all it takes to be in a standard bracket, that's only 1/8 of an inch on each side. We can trim that out. We can fill it with foam to make sure it's sealed properly. We'll do a beautiful job of taping that off and caulking it, where I don't think you or I, either one, would remember, unless we looked at a measure sheet, that was made, say, 1/4 inch smaller in order to save money. But that's one way to save money. Now, if you're building a new house, obviously, pick standard sizes, and then your architect can adjust the openings before you've built your house in order for it to fit. But that's not always the luxury you're going to get when you're talking about a house that already has windows and we're trying to make it match. I don't like doing that. I'd prefer not to, but if it is about saving a few pennies, we can do that. And then one last word on that. It's not one of those things where it works all the time anyway, because if you have internal blinds or you have shutters or something inside your house, sometimes not going with the exact size window we need throws everything else off. So don't make that mistake. That's where having an expert in your house is the best advocate you have for doing these things and saving money. Okay, so we're getting close to the end. That was number 5. Number 6, and this sounds like a window guy, right? Buy more windows. Yes, buy more windows. Okay. So the reason I say buy more windows is it's a simple math equation. If we have to come out to your house and we have to measure, and then you choose this for your windows, and then we send somebody back out to take final measurements, and then we have to send out a crew, and then we have to put you in our computer system, and then we have to add you to our policy and everything that we do. Now all of a sudden we've spent money on making you one of our customers. It's just in your interest that if you do more windows, you would save more money, because our cost goes down per window at certain price breaks, certain dollar amounts, or certain quantity of windows. There are some price points where it becomes more economical for us to sell you more windows. I had a lady one time who would buy 5 windows at a time when she got her income tax refund every year in February, March. She'd order windows from me. She bought 5, 5, 5, 5. Well, guess what happened? Over the period of 5 years, the windows had gone up over 25% over the 5-year period. So has she gotten a loan even, or paid cash, I don't know her financial situation, but the way she was doing it, she actually ended up spending more over a period of time than if she'd just done more windows at once. And by the way, we're into the 3rd year, and she called that year and said, I'm not going to buy any windows this year. My AC went out last year, so I'm going to skip a year and we'll do windows again next year. So it took her another year to get done with the project. Well, here's the thing. Had she had good windows from the very beginning, her house would have been more comfortable. She would have enjoyed it more. She would have heard the neighbor's dog barking less. She would have had less dirt, less dust, less pollen. And guess what? Her air conditioner would have run less often. And if her AC was running less often, maybe she would have got another year out of the AC had she bought more windows from me. So it's an economic decision for you to buy more windows, because it's cheaper for me to sell you more windows than it is to sell you fewer windows. And there are some advantages like price increases. We've seen price increases, especially during COVID, like we've never seen before. If you can afford to buy the windows now, I would consider buying them now instead of waiting. So buy more windows is number 6. Number 7 and final is think about your method of payment. A lot of window companies out there are offering you 48 months, 0% interest. I've got to tell you, it's not free. It's baked into the price. Their price is typically elevated by 15 to 20% so that they can pay down that rate from 17.99 down to 0, so they can give you a discounted rate. And they tell you how wonderful it is, and you can buy these windows now and pay 0 interest for 48 months, but the truth is you're actually paying for it. I elaborate on that. I go into great detail, and I think it's worth watching. There's a link to it right here and down in the description about the ugly truth behind 0% financing. You should watch that. So don't fall for the financing trick. That's not going to save you money. That's going to cost you money. Instead, go get your own financing, or better yet, if you've got the money on hand, write a check or pay with cash. Any window company, including mine, if you pay with a credit card, we have to process that credit card. It can be anywhere from 2.5% to over 4% on some cards. That discount that we normally give to people for paying with a check or paying with cash would no longer apply to you. So if you had a project, I'm going to use an easy number here. If you had a $100,000 project, we will give you 5% off that project for not using a credit card. Okay? And the reason for that is we don't have to pay those fees. Look, if it costs me less money to do your windows, I'm going to pass that savings along to you. If it costs me more money to do your windows, I have to pass those expenses along to you. So since this video was about 7 ways to save money on your window project, one of them is to have the conversation openly about what's the best way to make my payment to the window company in order to save money on the cost of doing business. That's it. You got it. Top 7 ways to save money on your window project. If you live in Houston, we'd love to meet you and see what we can do to help. If you live anywhere else in the country, you're looking for a great window company, go to jeffslist.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe and watch all of my other videos, and I hope to see you again real soon. Thanks.